Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
For the best meal from south of the border, head to Cocina Real in Puente Grande for lunch and dinner. With a wide array of mouth-watering entrees, there's something for everyone on the menu. And you can't forget the cheese dip. They'll treat you like family, and you'll never leave hungry. Make Cocina Real Mexican Restaurant and Puente Grande Mexican Restaurant your choice for authentic cuisine, located in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
I'm Mike Keith, and my friends at Elliott Johnson Insurance have a great partner in Auto Owners Insurance. Auto Owners makes it easy to get life, home, car, or business insurance. Let Elliott Johnson Insurance find the Auto Owners policy that makes a difference in your life. Call Elliott Johnson Insurance at one of their 3 locations, Florence, Loretto, and Lawrenceburg. Elliott Johnson Insurance, moving forward for our clients every day.
Welcome to Employee Resources Credit Union, where you're more than just a number, you're family. We provide financial solutions that rise above those of traditional banks. With roots stretching back to 1964, we've served 4 generations during constant industry changes. We're known for our low fees and incredible rates. Join us and experience the credit union difference. ERCU, not for profit, for service.
Comprehensive care with a compassionate touch. That will always be the guarantee at Encompass Healthcare in Etheridge, Tennessee. Whether you're looking for primary or urgent care, x-ray services, or weight loss treatments, the team at Encompass is equipped to serve your needs today. The doors are open Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5 and from 8 to noon on Fridays. Make an appointment with providers Kendra Brown, Tori Cox, or Ellie Brown today. That's Encompass Healthcare, located on Highway 43 North in Etheridge, next door to Chapman Tire.
For decades, First Class Charter has provided high-quality motor coach transportation services to the Tennessee Valley. With numerous safety and cleanliness accreditations, First Class Charter is ready to make your group trip a reality. Contact us today by visiting firstclasscharter.net. First Class Charter, the official motor coach company of the North Alabama Lions.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into the X Sports Network for this Thursday edition of the Mark My Words College Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. And once again, first off, we're going to start in here with some high school local sports as tournament time has come upon us now. Looking at we got play-in results. We had games Monday and Tuesday night. Monday was girls action, Tuesday the boys action. So for girls, District 9 AA, number 4 Summertown, defeated number 5 Forest 43-34 that game on Monday. We talked about it for a short bit on Tuesday. On the girls' side, in District 12 AAA, number 4 Giles County defeated number 5 Marshall County 46-32 to advance there. So the 4 remaining girls teams in District 9 AA are Summertown Community, Loretto, and Cascade. And then on the girls' side in District 12 AAA, it is Tullahoma, Franklin County, Lawrence County, and Giles County. On the boys' side, Community defeated number 5 Forest 70-43 to clinch their spot in the district tournament. And at number 5 Lawrence County defeating number 4 Franklin County 53-37 to punch their ticket, the only of the 5 seeds to pick up a win in the first 2 nights. So a great win for Lawrence County. But it gets no easier. Let's look at the schedule for the weekend in District 12 AAA. On the girls' side, these games played at Tullahoma High School. You will have number 2 Franklin County versus number 3 Lawrence County. That game will be Friday at 7 here on the X Sports Network. Now, in their 2 regular season matchups back January 16th at Franklin County defeated Lawrence County 69-41, but the game played at the Ralph back on February 3rd was only a 54-53 victory for Franklin County. So a matchup that got much closer as the year went on. I mean, it's tournament time. Anything can happen. It seems that it's trending towards the Lady Cats, who have battled really impressively back. They've dealt with some tough injuries throughout the year. Win this game, you play the winner of Giles County and Tullahoma. That game will be Monday at 7:30. If they lose, they'll play the loser of Giles County and Tullahoma Monday at 6. You win, you get to host a region game, and that's big. You win that first region game, get you one step closer to sub-state, to the state tournament. So real quick, we will take a look at the boys side in District 12, AAA. Again, Lawrence County with the upset victory over Franklin County on Tuesday night. So number one Tullahoma versus the 4 seed Lawrence County. Friday at 5:30 on the Exports Network at Tullahoma High School as well. The game at Tullahoma, it was a Tullahoma victory, 66-34. The game played here in Lawrenceburg back on February 6th was a 85-63 Tullahoma victory. And listen, you hold them to the 66 you got at Tullahoma, you score the 63 you got at Lawrence County. That's a 3-point game. You're right there. And this is when things get interesting. Lawrence County had to win the play-in game just to make it into this tournament. Now they'll get a chance to now play in region. A chance to host a region game with a win here. Now, again, win this game, you'll play the winner of Giles County and Marshall County on Tuesday at 7:30. The loser will, or if you lose, you play the loser of Giles County and Marshall County Tuesday at 6. Now, these consolation games are very important because that's a determining factor between being the 3 and the 4 seed. Because now that you've made it to this point in the year, seeding necessarily isn't your regular season seeding. I'll put it that way. Isn't necessarily too important. Now to look at Class 3A for Lawrence County, the region they would match up with is Battle Creek, Creekwood, Fairview, Montgomery Central, and Spring Hill. So no having to play with some of those Nashville area schools. It's a favorable in region, honestly. If you can make it there, host a game, how big that would be for postseason play. Now to look at District 9 AA on the girls' side, this one at Cascade High School starting tonight. Game 1, you'll have the number 1 overall seed Cascade taking on number 4 Summertown. Got one of their regular season matchups. Their one from last Friday over there. That one will be tonight at 6 on the Exports Network. Now this game at Cascade was a 44-40 victory for Cascade. And then at Summertown just last Friday, actually, Cascade defeated Summertown 54-47 in overtime. Listen, the 1 through 5, no discrediting Forest. This girls' district is tough. I was saying it on Tuesday, for the first time in a while for Loretto and Summertown, you're going to have to show up ready to play not just once, but for both rounds. You're going to have to win this first round because it's going to be tough. This is a girls' district where Summertown's the 4th seed. That's not something that happens a lot. For our second game of the night, that one will be at 7:30 game. We got going right behind us here, number 2 Loretto, number 3 Community. Will be, I would assume, 15 minutes following this game. It's slated for 7:30, but with as long as these 2 matchups went, it may get pushed back a tad bit. Now, for Loretto Community, it was a Loretto Lady Mustangs dominant win, 66-43. They shot the lights out. Team played great. At Loretto, wasn't as smooth. It was a 47-43 Lady Mustangs victory, but Community came to play. Now, the Game 3 consolation will be the loser of Game 1 versus the loser of Game 2, Saturday at 3. And then the championship game with the winner of Game 1 versus the winner of Game 2, Saturday at 6. Kind of some players to keep an eye on for the fans at home. Cascade, Kagan Young, she is fantastic. It's Miss Basketball finalist for 2A, first off, but I believe at some point last week was named the all-time leading scorer at Cascade for girls basketball, and you can go in that gym, and we'll be there tonight. You can look over. If you are sitting behind the team benches, you can look over to your right and see all the names they have for 1,000-point scorers in their school history. So it's a pretty it's a long list, but for Young to be at the top of it is pretty incredible. For Loretto, I would say Allie Augustine, Sophie Weathers are definitely the two to keep an eye on. But obviously, I would assume most of y'all have watched a good bit of the Lady Mustangs this year. For Community, and kind of similar to Loretto, Anna Haskins and Alyssa White, they have a guard and a post kind of 1-2 duo that, at Community didn't play as well. At Loretto played much better. I think they're wanting to get on the court with the Lady Mustangs once again and see what they can prove. For Summertown, it's really a collection. Gabby Long has had some great games. Zoe Bonner, along with Ella Busby, has had some great games. They kind of attack you at a bunch of different angles. Really good defensively. If their offense can knock down a high percentage of shots tonight, you could have a 4 upset on one very easily, but you could also see Community upset Loretto. This is one of the tougher to predict districts because, quite frankly, Summertown could win this district championship as the 4th seed, and it would not shock anybody. And the same thing could be said for Community. We could look at Cascade and Loretto having to travel for region play. Now on the boys' side, starting tomorrow night, game number 1 seed Loretto, number 4 Community, and funny enough, it's both games. Tonight you get Cascade Summertown and Loretto Community, and then tomorrow you get Loretto Community and Summertown and Cascade. So again, game number 1, the number 1 seed Loretto versus number 4 Community, Friday at 6. That will be also on the X Sports Network. The game at Community was the Mustangs' lone regular season district loss. Lost to Community 55-51. If you ask everybody in that locker room for the Mustangs, they would want that game back. And they got that game back. At Loretto, it was a Loretto win, 45-36. That game back on February 6th. Defense is going to be important in this one. We'll talk about game 2 real quick first. Number 2, Summertown versus number 3, Cascade. That one at Friday following game 1. And again, Loretto Community, those are 2 games that probably will go longer than an hour and a half, I would have to say. So Summertown Cascade, we'll follow that one up. At Cascade, it was a Summertown win, 68-51. And at Summertown, just a couple of days ago, Summertown defeated Cascade 67-58, so it got much closer. But, Summertown stayed pretty consistent with how much they score. And, you look 68 points in the first game, 67 in the second. You're asking your opponent to score 70 points to beat you. And not sure if Cascade will be able to do that because Summertown's defense this year has been very stout. Some players to watch for Loretto, Mason Tidwell, kind of the same thing for Young, for Cascade. Recently became the school's all-time leading scorer and is a problem. Drives, gets to the free throw line, we've talked about how amazing he's been as of late in his last 4 games: 31, 28, 34, and 29. And he didn't play the last couple minutes of that 29-point performance. And again, similar to the girls, the Game 3 consolation, loser of Game 1, loser of Game 2, Saturday at 4:30. And then the championship game, the winner of Game 1 versus the winner of Game 2, Saturday at 7:30. And very similar to the girls' side is, it's tough. Loretto did split with Community on the year. That can be some cause for concerns, and I'll talk about it with some players for Community. Charlie Haskins, Jonathan Lowell, the players to watch for them. Haskins definitely much more of a pure scorer, but it's their 2 guards, and they cause problems. Rebounds, they'll kind of sneak up behind you and poke it out from under you. They get a bunch of steals. They're great on-ball defenders, and they're good 3-point shooters as well. So it's definitely going to be a test for the Mustangs. Players to watch for Summertown, obviously Layton and Sawyer Sherman have been outstanding this year, as they have been their whole careers, but the development we've seen from them over the past 2 years has been incredible. Ryder Blackwood's been great. Pretty much whoever gets the hot hand that night for Summertown is the name to watch. You have a guy, they can start a game 8 for 8 from 3. And probably 4 or 5 guys, realistically, that could do that for Summertown. And listen, if their offense shows up, good luck, because it's going to be a lot of chasing around and hard to block a 3-point shot from behind a guy. The number 3 seed, Cascade, Caleb Kelso, one of their point guards is extremely talented, hit some very tough shots against the Mustangs in both matchups. He can definitely cause some problems for Summertown. And, that's why Cascade's the 3 seed. They've got great players. And it's not just Kelso. They have a ton of different guys that can cause problems. You're looking at the matchups they had with the Mustangs, the ones I have the stats for right in front of me. I mean, you got Henry Stone is a terrific defender but can score as well. Cooper McElroy, a great three-point shooter, didn't have a great game the second time. But Ryder Pillington, Tyler Rogers, they can bring guys off the bench, Tyler Barrett, Tristan Billings. Really a collection of guys for that Cascade Champions team. Now looking at the corresponding region for the Mustangs, it will be District 10. Here, District 10 AA, and some familiar foes: Decatur County, East Hickman, Hickman County, and Lewis County. Yeah, I mean it's teams the Mustangs are used to, and you got some good teams in there. I mean, Lewis County on the boys' side, extremely talented. Hickman County, extremely talented. So it's no easier, but really, I think whoever is the girls and boys team that walks out with the district championship, it's going to be a team that's earned it. We'll just put it that way. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we got a lot of college sports to break down. We've got college basketball. Last night we had one of the more entertaining of SEC basketball that we've had probably in the last decade, and we've got some college baseball matchups this weekend to talk to, so that will be when we return. We're on the Mark My Words College Sports Show.
Flooring sets the tone throughout your home.
For flooring that makes the right first impression, start by choosing us, Floored by Justin.
A one-stop flooring destination. Our new location stands alone for unequaled customer service and selection. Owner Justin Story's mastery of custom hardwood inlays means every room can have a custom look. Discover how the right choice of hardwood, laminate, carpet, or tile can set the tone in your home. Contact Floored by Justin today.
The Summit of Lawrenceburg is the premier senior and assisted living community in the region. The Summit makes it home for you or your loved one with diverse suites that welcome and encourage community, plus gathering spaces, neighborhoods, daily activities, and a wonderful staff that supports you every day.
Hi, I'm Tara Blue. I'm the new director of the Summit, and we would like to invite you and your family to come and tour our facility. We would love to see you here.
There's no job too big or too small for Gonzalez Lawn and Landscapes. Owner Chris Gonzalez works hard to make your commercial or residential properties one of the neighbors will envy. You won't find a lower price anywhere else, and that's a guarantee. We offer mowing, landscape removal, small construction jobs, and more. Our team is licensed and insured to ensure the best work for Lawrence County and surrounding areas. Your satisfaction is our goal. We won't leave until you're happy. Call today to set up a free quote.
Make your property rock and roll with services from G&S Excavating, specializing in white sand, compost, mulch, topsoil, landscape gravel, and steel landscape edging. Turn to the pros who know how to make your project shine with years of experience. The best part is they're locally owned and operated. Choose from a vast selection of mulch and rock from their conveniently located facility at number 3 Valley Road in Lawrenceburg, just off Buffalo Road. Phone 931-279-3841 and get started today.
Hey, this is Phil Hooper. Get the look you want for your favorite school, church, or business with apparel from HD Ink Screen Printing in Leoma, Tennessee. Got a logo you need embroidered or screen printed? Let HD Ink give you the professional look that sets the bar in today's world. We do fundraisers and custom designed apparel and so much more. Call today, 931-201-2961, or come see us at our new shop located at 26 Ingram Road in Leoma. Remember, HD Ink for the look you want and the look you deserve.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to Mark My Words. Now on to the college sports side. Tempers flared Tuesday night in a Big Ten matchup as number 15 Michigan State really stomped UCLA 82-59. It just seems like your average, everyday, midweek butt kicking in the Big Ten. But a little bit more than that. So with about 4.5 minutes to go, Michigan State was up close to 30, and senior big man Carson Cooper on a breakaway was fouled hard by UCLA forward Stephen Jamerson the second. Players met. There was a couple words exchanged, but nothing too egregious there. And so Jamerson makes it back to his team's bench and meets his head ball coach, Mick Cronin from UCLA. And Cronin threw his own player out of the game. Now, you can look at it. It was a hard play, but maybe dangerous, but dirty, no. 27-point game, yes, you could say that, but I hate the self-ejection there from Cronin. I'm not sure how the guy still has a job. I'm not sure how much longer he will have a job. But, and some people are saying that Jamerson did make a dangerous play. But I'd see a senior, fourth-year senior, who was denied a walk-on spot going into college from Michigan State. Worked his tail off, played at a mid-major, and then plays good enough that he can transfer to a school like UCLA and be able to play in these games. He's not going to have a future in the NBA, so this is probably it for him when it comes to college basketball. He gets 11 minutes a night and tries to make a hustle play late in the game to try to help UCLA find something positive that you can bring out of this game, and your coach just throws you to the locker room. I mean, the night was already embarrassing enough as a team, and now Jamerson's not from Ann Arbor, so it's not like or East Lansing. He's not a local kid, but it stinks. You throw him out, you send him to the locker room in front of a packed house that he wanted to play in growing up, and I have a hard time finding it why any player would choose to play for a coach like that. And I mean, you can look, he has had countless press conferences and interviews over the years where he just likes to throw his guys under the bus. It's never been him. He has never made a bad coaching move in his life. It is only his players that do so. And I just find that kind of a joke. I mean, this dude's never won a national championship. He made a Final Four. I will give him that. He did make a Final Four at UCLA, but in a COVID year when, half the schools in the country were playing with no crowd. So, that obviously probably helped you a good bit. But, a lot of negatives. And then it doesn't end there. Following the game, he's in a press conference, was asked about the Michigan State crowd, said he could give a rat's ASS about the other team student section, then followed up sarcastically, thanking the reporter for asking, quote, the worst question I have ever been asked. Then during a sidebar, while other reporters were trying to ask him questions, and while the reporter was trying to defend himself, saying that he didn't think he thought it was a very fair question, Cronin says, in a very demeaning term, are you raising your voice at me? Listen, Mick, you have a group of reporters, I would assume some are from UCLA, that flew across the country on a Tuesday night to cover your game, and this was a conference you and your school pushed to be in. These guys have jobs too, and are taking as much time away from their family as you did for this trip, trying to do their job, and you're just demeaning them. It's not a good look. So I just look at Mick Cronin as your average, everyday 54-year-old head coach that doesn't fight for his players and is a complete jerk to the media. And this brings me back to early 2019 when UCLA was looking for a new head coach. Scott Alford had been fired, and it was down to two guys, ironically enough, with the same birthday, and funny enough, my birthday, July 17th, and it was Mick Cronin or Rick Barnes. And things got pretty hairy in Knoxville, but I think that UCLA's athletic department is beating themselves over the head kind of for not getting Rick Barnes. Now, sure, Mick Cronin has led UCLA to a Final Four, and Rick Barnes has not led Tennessee to a Final Four. But I think if you look at Tennessee, since Rick Barnes been there the last decade, and you look at UCLA since 2020 or 2019, 2020, when Cronin got there, one's had a lot more negative press than the others, and it's not because UCLA is winning a lot. Because, I mean, when you think college basketball, they are one of the original blue bloods. John Wooden, I mean, what is it, like 11 national championships or 12, something like that? I mean, insane. And now they're an afterthought in a good Big Ten, but the Pac-12's not a thing anymore, you know. And now we got a guy whining because he has to take his team halfway across the country every week because you wanted your conference, your school wanted you to make a little bit more money from your conference, and at the detriment of the actual players and coaches. So let's look at some scores from Tuesday and Wednesday before I complain too much more, because I do got another rant saved for some college basketball, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Tuesday night, we had some good action. It wasn't a over-the-top great night or anything, but definitely had its fair share of great action, so we will pull up on Tuesday night. We've actually had some. We'll start in the ACC. Miami over Virginia Tech, 67-66. And I'll tell you, this Miami team turnaround has been incredible. You know, everybody's talking about the Miami, Ohio Redhawks, and for good reason. They're 25, 26, 27-0, something like that. But the other Canes deserve just as much of talk. So, they hired Jay Lucas to take over in March, around this time last year, to take over for Jim Larrañaga, who was going to retire at the end of the season. Lucas was had spent time at Duke, and I mean, he is I'm pretty sure a very young head coach. Yeah, only 37 years old. Spent his time in college at Florida and Texas. Transferred, I guess, before that was really cool. But, hey, I think that he is done. I mean, he's not going to get National Coach of the Year because there's a lot of other deserving guys, and he may deserve it. I think he should be a finalist. But Jay Lucas has done an outstanding job with this Miami team because they were thought of as a middle-of-the-road team, and have excelled since then. North Carolina State drills North Carolina by nearly 30 points. But this is a Tar Heels team playing without their two best post players, and Henry Vessar and Caleb Wilson. So, yeah, you take the two best players off any team in the country, they're probably going to stink. SMU at 10-point win over Louisville, Florida State over Boston College. Now on to the Big 12. Kind of a sad one. Arizona State over Texas Tech, 72-67. JT Toppin goes for 20 and 8, and unfortunately tears his ACL in this one. He is done for the year, and that's now twice in the last handful of days that we've lost one of the best players in one of the best conferences in college basketball due to a torn ACL. I mean, Richie Saunders and JT Toppin are both first-team all-conference caliber players, and unfortunately not going to help with that later in the year, and that's a killer for Texas Tech. One of the best resumes in the country, and now your enforcer's gone. Over to the Big East, Villanova, a nice win in overtime over Xavier, and another coach that has done a great job this year, Kevin Willard, and his guys up at Villanova, 21-5. And things in Philly hadn't been great for the Wildcats really since Jay Wright had retired, and maybe Willard's the guy. 21-5 this year, no slouch. I mean, you go look at their schedule. I mean, their only losses right now in conference play at UConn, against St. John's, a strange one to Creighton, and then your other losses are to Michigan, who pretty much everybody except Wisconsin and Wisconsin may be the only team that's beat them still, and BYU, the first game of the year. I mean, I think this Villanova team needs a little bit more respect, and there's a slight chance they'll have a number next to their name if they continue to win this week. Nebraska, we had a strange upset here. Iowa over Nebraska 57-52. We knew Nebraska was going to slow things down. And when Hoiberg and Sanford and Lawrence and Most aren't hitting their shots, it's going to be a tough night for anybody playing Iowa. I mean, Iowa, talent-wise, probably very middle of the road in most major conferences. But they give teams trouble because it's kind of like their football team. They slow things down. And it's weird because it's so hard to do that in college basketball with the shot clock, but they slow things down, make things hard, and really cause a lot of teams problems. Another upset that's not very shocking to me at all. Wisconsin gets a number next to their name and immediately loses to an unranked opponent in Ohio State 86-69. Wisconsin is so confusing. I mean, last 4 games is the most glaring example of what I mean. A loss at Indiana by 1 in overtime. You go win at Illinois in overtime. You go beat Michigan State at home by 20, and then you lose at Ohio State by 17. You beat 2 top 10 teams within 3 days of each other, and you lose to 2 unranked teams, and Indiana's not good. Ohio State, probably a fringe team, but again, Nick Boyd, John Blackwell, weren't able to score, and that's kind of the thing for them. Already talked about Michigan State, UCLA, and all of that drama. But number 1 Michigan, who does have 1 loss. That 1 loss is to Wisconsin, funny enough. Getting a win over Purdue, 91-80. Boilermakers got down in a huge hole in the first half and trying to dig themselves back up. Trey Kaufman-Wren was awesome. Brayton Smith was awesome. Oscar Clough gives you 4 points, though, in 20 minutes. You know, had the flagrant one in there, but just not a great night for him. And you're going to need 2 post players to play with Michigan. They have best front court in the country, and it was very spread out. I mean, you have Yaxel Lindeborg, 13 points. Morez Johnson, 12 points, 11 boards. Ade Mara, 10 points, 11 boards, 2 blocks. And then they, bring guys off the bench that'll give you 13 points and a couple of boards. I mean, it's insane how good this Michigan team is. Because they made Purdue, made a Purdue team that was preseason very highly ranked look pedestrian. And then over into the SEC for our last breakdown of Tuesday nights. Georgia gets their first win and are up in 17 years. It was 2009 the last time they did that. Blue Kane with 20 points. Smurf Millender, 14 points. Cyril, 14 points, 8 boards. For Kentucky, Otega Oweh, 28. Colin Chandler, 18. Denzel Aberdeen, 14. And the rest of the team, 17 points? 18 points? Listen, I like it when 3 guys can put up 60, but if they're not going to help each other out with Moreno, you got to be able to score more than 6 points. Georgia is not a very happy team. I mean, Diabate, Garrison, those guys should have been able to eat him alive, and it was the other way around. LSU and Texas in a shootout, 88-85. Texas the winners there. Listen, LSU has dealt with some injury problems. Obviously, they're missing their best player now for the rest of the season. Coach's kid McKinnon, 27 off the bench, 21 from Sutton. And Woko, 15 points, had a great game, but just a little bit short on Texas. Daylon Swain, 21 and 10 for the Horns. Voka Titus, 17 and 10. Pope, 18 points, and 18 points from Tremont Mark. And listen, you blink and Texas is 17 and 9, folks. A good-looking team. Florida over South Carolina, 76-62. Just your average everyday game for the Gators. Chinyelu, 15 and 17. Alex Condon, 20 and 10. And really no one else had to do anything. I did see a funny kind of dispute. One of the sports betting apps is kind of in a bit of a dispute over some Xavier Lee stats. There was the over-under set on that game, or at least that I saw a screenshot of, was 14.5. You look at some websites like Bleacher Report. It'll say Xavier Lee has 9 points and 5 assists. You go to ESPN, it'll say he has 9.7 assists, which would have made that bet hit. So some people are a little unhappy about that, but also why you don't put money on amateur sports. I mean, that's asking consistency out of 18 to 22-year-olds, which I think is extremely dumb. Upset alert. Rhode Island takes down St. Louis 81-76. And listen, it was bound to happen to the Billikens. If you weren't going to be able to shoot great, it was going to cost you. And, I mean, URI puts up 12 of 29 from 3. 41% from the field, 41 from 3, 85% from the line, and they got there nearly 30 times. I mean, they just gave the Billikens problems. Robbie Avila goes for 21, 19 from Brown, but tough three-point shooting. You only get 3 of 7 from Sharma off the bench, and that's a guy that, I mean, when hot, absolute flamethrower. And again, Miami of Ohio 26-0 following their win over UMass 86-77. I mean, this is just a good team. Suter goes for 23, Skalyak 16 and 7. Let's go to Wednesday, because in the SEC, folks, we had a great one. We'll talk about the ACC first. Virginia, 94-68 over Georgia Tech. I mean, that's one of those. Virginia's good, Georgia Tech's not. Good win right there. Now, strange one. Wake, 85, Clemson, 77. That Clemson defense was not there, and they're not necessarily a team built to score, let's just say 86 in that game. So that was a tough loss for Clemson as it gets even shakier at the top of the ACC. Into the Big 12, BYU plays their first game without Richie Saunders. Goes about as well as you thought. I mean, it was Arizona. A.J. DeMonsa, 35 points. He was awesome. I mean, that guy, I've watched him probably only 5 or 6 times this year, but he impresses me every time. Robert Wright, if he could go for 25 in this game, 12 more points, you win. It's crazy how close it was. For the Wildcats, Karchinkov was awesome. And who else was awesome? Jaden Bradley, 12 points, 10 assists. Only 3 turnovers for the talented guard. Burries goes for 11. But Anthony Del Orso off the bench with 22 points. And then one of my favorite players on the team, Toby Awaka. 3 points, 6 boards. He just goes out there and gets rebounds and fouls a lot. I mean, it's a fun guy to watch. Utah holds on and takes down West Virginia 61-56. And Kansas 81-69 over Oklahoma State. Darren Peterson played one half again. I mean, it's getting to the point now where I'm glad the national media is finally saying it, but who's going to waste the number 1 pick on this guy? Because you have one of the most gifted basketball players. It's hard to say like in a long time or anything, because there are probably 5 or 6 players in this class just as good as him. Cooper Flagg a year ago. But he is that guy. I mean, he's 6'6", can shoot any shot you want him to. But you don't want to be out there with your team. And I get it, Kansas 20-6, having a great year, but I mean, how can you put an 8 next to this team because of Darren Peterson when Darren Peterson doesn't want to be on the floor? And that's actually not my other rant for the day. That one will come here in a moment. St. John's over Marquette 76-70. DePaul over Seton Hall 69-57. And an upset. We're going to have a new number 1 seed on Saturday. I'll talk about that in a moment. Number 5, UConn falls to Creighton 91-84. I mean, the Blue Jays just started shooting the lights out as they always do. 10 of 21 from 3. UConn actually hit more. Okay, free throws. I was about to say, what was the difference in this game? Because you look, UConn took 16 more shots, took 9 more threes, made 1 more, but the Blue Jays got to the line. And if you shoot 27 of 32 versus a team shooting 11 of 18, you deserve to win that game. And that's something to keep an eye on for UConn. They've had a chance to have a clutch free throw performance, and it just did not happen. Over to the Big Ten, not as many big matchups last night. You have Northwestern over Maryland, 78-74. Rutgers, 85-72 over Penn State. You sort of start to feel for Buzz Williams there at Maryland, because he has a system. Not sure what way to really call this, but he'll go to a school that's down or on the way down, and in 5 or 6 years turn them around, make them look good, and then when expectations get high, he dips. It seems like a very self-aware man that knows that, I can get a team to be pretty good, but not really good. And this year Maryland has gone beyond bad for him. Illinois 101-65 win over USC as things are starting to get a little ugly on both of the LA teams. And the funniest part about this 101 points that Illinois scored, only one person scored 20. Keaton Wagler goes for 10. Kylan Boswell, 12 points, 8 assists. Great game from him. 12 points, 7 rebounds from Jake Davis. 10 points, 4 rebounds from Tommy Ivasic. 14 and 3 from David Merkovich. Ben Hummerkaus with 11.6 boards off the bench. Zvonimir Ivasic only 4 points, and then Andrei Stojakovic with 22. I mean, it at that point does not matter. And Aaliyah Arenas had a rough game, only 8 points for the talented guard. He had a great year, but just wasn't able to get anything going. But it's not like, I mean, that's a 36-point loss. That's not anything one player can prevent. Now into the SEC, and listen, if you were on the SEC network, ESPN, ESPN2, on SEC Now, following the last game, Peter Burns said it best, maybe the best night of SEC basketball in the last decade. So we'll start first with the only blowout of the night in Knoxville, Oklahoma and Tennessee. First time the Sooners had made the trip to Knoxville since 1958. And the game was a little different back then. Nate Aments, boy, he would have been an alien back then. 29 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists for the talented freshman Felix Okpara. Got a bit of a minutes bump, played 35 minutes with the without J.P. Estrella, who was out with a foot injury. 18.7 boards for the big man. Jacoby Gillespie proves how awesome he is. 16.8 assists and a school record 8 steals. That's awesome. Yeah, I was texting a buddy last night watching the game. This Tennessee team this year, and Dwayne Brown, 13 points off the bench. This is a Tennessee team this year that I was jokingly saying they got a lot of quit in them, but it's not that. It's just late in games, their mistakes amplify. Jacoby Gillespie's not a turnover problem. Probably averages 2.5 maybe a game, somewhere around there. But when you're averaging, and as important to this team as he is, but it feels like he'll get that half assist in the first 30 minutes. And those 2 will come in the last 10. Well, last night he was the one forcing the steals in the last 10 minutes because Oklahoma had cut it relatively close. I think it had gotten to 6 maybe because Nigel Pack was great. 4 or 5 from 3, 7 and 9 from the field, 20 points for him. How did you only take 9 shots when you're shooting that well? Well, that's because the rest of the team started taking shots after that and started missing. Tennessee got 17 more shots off than Oklahoma. Weren't great from 3, but they didn't need to be. Got to the line. Oklahoma, 14 turnovers. Tennessee, 5. Tennessee, 35 rebounds. Oklahoma, 17. Tennessee, 14 offensive rebounds. Oklahoma, 4. That's how you make up 23 points. Vanderbilt, which makes the Tennessee-Vanderbilt game that this much more fun Saturday. Vanderbilt is like the opposite. They don't start playing until there's 10 minutes left in the game. Tyler Tanner, 27 points, a tough loss to Missouri. One of the crazier endings. Vandy was down 21 points with 9 minutes to go, and then Tyler Tanner, A.K. Okereke, Washington hit a couple of shots. Tyler Nickel, tough shot maker. Chandler Bing hit a shot late as well. They just came up a bit short. Mark Mitchell for Missouri almost made the ultimate mistake, and I've seen it actually end up costing a high school team in a game this year. Just threw it up to midcourt. There's 1 second left, something like that. And Tyler Tanner grabbed it, got a good look off, and was this close from the most miraculous comeback I've ever seen. But don't be shocked if Tennessee Vanderbilt, if you look and it's Tennessee up by 15 at halftime, Tennessee up by 20 with 8 minutes to go, and then Vanderbilt wins the game. That would be my prediction for that one. Auburn goes to the hump, and, well, they got Josh Hubbard. Hubbarded? I'm not sure what necessarily how we're going to work that term out, but he had 46 points. Hit 10 three-pointers, 15 to 27 from the field. He took less than 10 free throws in this game and scored 46 points. I mean, one of the most... And that's not even the best performance in the conference tonight or last night. Keyshawn Hall, 29 and 10. Tahad Pettiford, he's been playing much better. 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for him in a shootout. But good thing for the Bulldogs. They were able to hold on and pick up a big win. And now Auburn, they're one other loss in the season away from being 500. They're 14-12. Ole Miss, Texas A&M. The Rebs had a good first half, but it was the Aggies game in the second half. Malik Dia goes down. Carmerdine had a great game. A.J. Storr had a great game, but nobody else scored, really, for the Rebels. Rashawn Agee, I mean, they call him Grandpa in the locker room. 17 points, 10 boards for the big man. I mean, it was a collective effort. I mean, Ruben Dominguez, the Spanish sniper, hit a couple of threes. Pop Isaacs wasn't able to play wasn't able to produce very much. It was not a very good game for the guards, but the big men and the wings for Texas A&M really helped them above this one. It also gave me and one of my coworkers were talking about during the day yesterday that we were a little excited about, but we didn't think we were getting game of the year. Alabama 117, Arkansas 115, double overtime. I texted him I would have watched these teams play 5 overtimes, 10 overtimes. I mean, make them play all night. I don't care. I'm not a fan of either of the teams. Darius Acuff with maybe one of the best performances we've seen in the SEC from a freshman, and I'll say from a freshman in the ACC since, I mean, let's look up Anthony Edwards. Did he have I know he had a crazy game against Michigan State, but 37. So, and 33 of those in the second half. Up there with that performance. Darius Acuff goes for 49 on 27 shots, 6 of 10 from 3, 11 of 12 from the free throw line, and was 1 shot short. There at the end, the layup, the putback dunk missed by Malik Ewan, who went 0 for 4 on the night. Stinks, man. But, I mean, Arkansas did their part. Malik Thomas put up 24. Billy Richmond put up 20. Trevin Brazile, 11 and 8. But you only got 8 points off the bench from DJ Wagner. Alabama, though. Whew. Talk about just a full collection of effort from their starters. You have a freshman lead the team in minutes last night. Amari Allen played 44 minutes, goes for 19 and 11. 35 points from LeBaron Philon. Aiden Sherrell, 26 and 13. What a game from him. Aiden Holloway with 15 points. Houston Millett didn't score a point till overtime, had 6 points and 6 of the biggest points in that game. Whew, what a fun one that was. I mean, I would quite literally watch those two teams play. And I don't think necessarily that was an upset for Alabama. But I will say that if the game was played at Bud Walton, I don't think it would have gone to overtime. But, man, what a game. I mean, Arkansas got out to a huge lead in the first half. Alabama stormed back in the second half and needed to be 1 shot better, and they were in overtime. So let's look at some of the games this weekend because, folks, we got some great action going on in college basketball on Saturday. So let's highlight some of those real quick. So we will start first in the ACC, where we got Florida State at Clemson, Wake Forest at Virginia Tech, number 16 North Carolina at Syracuse, Miami at Virginia. That's going to be a good one. 1 p.m. on ESPN2 for that one. Notre Dame at Pitt, Georgia Tech at number 21 Louisville, Boston College at SMU, Stanford at Cal, and the big one at 5:30 on ESPN, number 1 Michigan, number 3 Duke, in D.C. at Capital One Arena there in Washington, D.C. It's 2 best teams in college basketball, and we finally get to see them play. I'm pumped for that one. Over in the Big 12, Cincinnati at Kansas, Kansas State at Texas Tech, Oklahoma State at Colorado, Arizona State at Baylor, West Virginia TCU, UCF Utah, and at 9:30, you got Iowa State heading to Provo, the Marriott Center, to take on BYU. But I just think BYU's a little bit outmatched, and 4-6 in their last 10 is not a very good team. They'll probably drop out of the rankings come Monday. But at 2 o'clock on ABC, we have Arizona at Houston, number 4, number 2. I mean, we're getting a Final Four preview, quite literally, on Saturday. It is so exciting. I don't know what to tell you about this one because these are the 2 teams in the Big 12 remaining that have everybody. Texas Tech, well, you don't have JT Toppin. Kansas, Darren Peterson only plays half the game. BYU, well, you don't have Richie Saunders. Now, Iowa State also in there, and, I mean, you have a guy shooting 50% from 3 on that team. So, we'll now turn our attention to the Big East. Creighton at St. John's. Creighton just beat UConn, who is playing Villanova at 4:30. Now, that means all the crappy teams are playing the crappy teams. So you got Xavier taking on Butler, Georgetown at Seton Hall, and Providence at DePaul. Now on to the Big Ten. Not as much action on Saturday. Penn State at Nebraska, Rutgers at Minnesota, Washington at Maryland, Oregon at USC, and then Illinois at UCLA. Saw a funny tweet that said that if Illinois gets up by 35 in UCLA, Mick Cronin may just take all his clothes off on. I mean, what more can the dude do? But I will say, if you're free at 7 o'clock Saturday night, peek on over at the Illinois UCLA game. See if you see a small man over there on the UCLA bench throwing a hissy fit, because I would guarantee it. Unless they somehow upset Indiana or Illinois, and then we just got a whole can of worms. Some rivalry games going on Saturday in the SEC. We will start it off with Florida at Ole Miss. You got an Ole Miss team that's really been struggling, and Florida looks like the best team in the SEC, probably a top 10 team in the country, and they'll get a chance to prove that on Saturday. Mississippi State at South Carolina, Texas at Georgia, Missouri at Arkansas. That game's gotten really interesting because, folks, you may not realize it, but Missouri's 18-8. Alabama LSU, game that's not nearly as fun anymore is not nearly as fun on the hardwood as it is on the gridiron. Kentucky and Auburn, the nightcap on ESPN, because it's Kentucky and Auburn, and neither one of them are very good this year. I mean, Kentucky's definitely made an incredible comeback. I mean, 7-3 in their last 10, but I mean, people forget this was a Kentucky team in December. They had a game in Bridgestone on a Friday night against Gonzaga and got beat by 35 points. They were getting booed off the floor at halftime and are now right there in the middle of the road, or top end in the SEC. Texas at Oklahoma, but you got Tennessee at Vanderbilt, 1 p.m. on ESPN. Jalen Carey's return to Nashville. He was a huge factor in that Vandy win against Tennessee in Nashville last year. He struggled, though, recently for the Vols. Need him to have a big game. Vandy, 5-5 in their last 10, has struggled a bit, but they're still putting up a crap ton of points. It's going to come down to rebounds for Tennessee. They're third in the country in rebounding, best offensive rebounding team in the country. That's why this Tennessee team is scoring 81 points per game, because they're getting extra shots and they're getting to the line. But you're going to have two of the most talented point guards in the SEC. Tyler Tanner going head-to-head with Jacoby Gillespie. Not sure what the matchup with Nate Ament would be, but I can tell you Okereke and Ament, that's going to be a fun matchup. If those two go one-on-one, how's Jalen Carey, Devin McLaughlin? I can guarantee those two will be banging shoulders in the post. Going to be a ton of fun in the SEC. So now we'll turn it on over to some college baseball. Had some interesting midweek action. We'll pull up some of the scores from Tuesday real quick, because we did have some upsets. Now, midweek games don't mean anything. Nobody's throwing their number one arm out there. In the top 25, you have Louisville over Xavier, 23-11. I guess no pitchers showed up in that one. Morehead State gets the win over in-state rival Kentucky, 8-6. College of Charleston upsets number 6 Coastal Carolina, 4-3. And funny enough, College of Charleston was the last team. It was the last midweek team to beat Coastal Carolina, which was last year in April. So funny game there. Tulane. They had to go all the way out to L.A. and face UCLA. 13-5 win there for the Bruins. Number 13 Tennessee, 10-3 win over UNC Asheville. North Carolina 10-0 over Richmond. Clemson 11-1 over Charlotte. Mississippi State 13-7 win over Troy. Wake gets a win over High Point 7-6. Georgia Tech, 25-1 over Georgia Southern. Florida State 13-3 over Jacksonville. Miami 8-7 over UCF. That was a good matchup. Texas 14-4 win over Lamar. Florida 12-2 win over Stetson. Southern Miss gets a nice road win at Southeast Louisiana, 3-1. Auburn had a bit of a rough awakening in their own park. Cincinnati clubs them 8-0. UT Arlington upsets TCU 11-8. And Texas A&M defeats Texas A&M Corpus Christi 8-3. Had some games on Wednesday as well. Number 2 LSU over Nichols 12-1. NC State over Winthrop 7-3. Georgia over USC Upstate 12-6. Miami over Indiana State 6-2. Mississippi State over Alcorn State 19-0. Florida over Stetson 9-3, and North Carolina over Longwood 5-3. Also in the SEC, had a bit of a rough weekend in the rankings, Vanderbilt, but team throws a combined no-hitter against Eastern Michigan in a win at 16-2. Alabama over Alabama State 2-1. Ole Miss over Jackson State 18-3. Mississippi State was able to debut the highly anticipated debut of Jack Bauer. No, not the guy from 24, but kid's got a cannon for a left arm. Was up to 102 in high school, allegedly. Was able to come in for a moment. It didn't go great necessarily. Goes 1 1/3. 1 hit, 2 runs, 2 earned, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. So he can throw it really hard. He just has no idea where it's going. But he faced 8 batters, walked 3 of them, struck out 3 of them. I don't think necessarily anything bad there, but that is a guy that if he stays for 3 years, and I think he's going to, because I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be a senior in high school right now, the sky's the limit. I mean, realistically, we could be looking at another Paul Skeens level guy if he doesn't blow his arm out. That's the kicker. So we'll look at some action coming up on Friday because, it's that point in the season. We're going to have teams playing teams all over the place. Feels like mainly in Texas, but Michigan at Florida State, that one at noon on Friday. LSU, Indiana, Purdue, Southern Miss, Arkansas, Xavier, Nebraska, Louisville, VCU, Coastal, North Carolina, East Carolina. That should be a fun one going on at Greenville. Kentucky versus Evansville, West Virginia versus Liberty, Tennessee, Kent State, Wake Forest, Siena. Not a whole bunch of too big major matchups, but do have some great games going on in Austin, and a pretty good series going on in LA at Jackie Robinson Stadium. Number 7 TCU, number 1 UCLA. Auburn's got Kansas State. That at Globe Life Field in Texas. Baylor, Oregon State, and Michigan State, Texas going on as well on Saturday. We got LSU, Notre Dame, Michigan, Louisville. That's should be a good one. I believe that was a regional or super regional a couple years ago. Obviously, game 2, North Carolina, East Carolina, Michigan State, Texas. Auburn, Florida State is going to be a good one. Illinois, Coastal Carolina could be a fun one. But man, a full weekend series of TCU and UCLA this early in the season. Just round of applause to both of those teams and coaching staffs for setting up a top 10 matchup like that this early in the season. Also, Oregon State at Southern Miss. Going to Sunday's matchups to finish out the weekend. Auburn, Louisville will be probably your biggest game in the morning. Well, most games on Sunday are relatively morning games. Nebraska at Florida State, game 3 of TCU, UCLA, Baylor, Southern Miss, VCU, Coastal Carolina, UCF, LSU. So a ton of great games going on, and we will break all of those down when we return next week. So that will do it for this week's edition of the Mark My Words College Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. We will be back on Monday to break everything down from all the district tournaments we previewed earlier. From the high school ones, we will have a new district champion for District 9 AA and District 9 AA boys and girls. We will know the championship matchups for District 12 AAA on the boys and girls side, and we will preview those for you on Monday. Along with, we'll go back over the great weekend of college basketball. If there's any other great stuff to talk about, because there probably will be. College baseball, obviously, we'll get you caught back up on all of that. So that will be next week when we return. So everybody have a good weekend, and we will be back on Monday.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.